Hey guys, welcome back to the booth here at Pro Tour Fate Reforged. I've got Randy Buehler, I've got Ian Duke, I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. Let's head down to the feature match area. It's time for round 15. Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Fate Reforged. We're in Washington, D.C. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth. I've got Randy Buehler. I've got Ian Duke, and we're ready for round 15 action. You can look at our feature match area. Our first player, Seth Manfield, really has been the player of the tournament.
Absolutely. He was 12-0, and you asked me what needs to go wrong for him to miss top 8. And I said there were kind of 6 things have to go wrong. He has to lose, he has to lose, he has to pair down and lose, and then he has to get paired down and lose yet again. Well, he lost, and now he's gotten paired down.
So he's halfway there.
We're like
Hopefully
halfway
that won't
through
be the
disaster.
case. Standing in his way, Jacob Wilson. And his different take on Abzan, it's heavy green-white with a little bit more, and this is going to be an interesting matchup as Seth Manfield is on burn, has a much more direct path to victory as far as that goes. Ian, what do you make of the matchup here?
So normally burn is a really tough deck to beat in game 1. Not a lot of decks are prepared for it. Some decks that do have good game against burn involve, the non-interactive fast combo decks, but one of the other categories of decks are the green creature decks with life gain, and that's what Jacob Wilson has. He has an unusual variant of Abzan where not only does he have Siege Rhinos, but he also has Kitchen Finks. Both of those are going to be key cards in the matchup.
Kitchen Finks in its opening draw.
Wow.
This is the nightmare pairing for Seth Manfield, isn't it?
Absolutely. Lingering Souls.
I mean, I guess he
and
did
a
win
Voice
the
of
opening die
Resurgent.
roll.
Yes, that would have been nice. And he even draws the Birds of Paradise here to either attract a bolt itself or enable Kitchen Finks start rolling down as early as turn 2.
Yeah, so often, you're kind of between a rock and a hard place here with the burn deck. On the one hand, you don't want to be spending your burn spells aiming them at creatures, but on the other hand, if you just let Jacob Wilson develop his fast mana, he's going to start playing Kitchen Finks, he's going to start playing Siege Rhinos, he's going to start activating Gavany Township, and so you have to make a hard decision early in the game with not much information. Do I bolt the bird? What do you think, Randy?
You kill the bird. I've been trained over the last 20 years. You just kill the bird.
That's definitely the conventional wisdom. Now, if Seth can find a card like Searing Blaze, that'll let him do both at the same time.
Oh, that would be ideal.
No blocks.
The bird does not block. And the bird gets bolted. And in fact, it is an actual lightning bolt on an actual Birds of Paradise.
So there you go.
So we get to see that happen on camera here. In the meantime, Wilson's going to take 4 damage.
22 years at this point?
Yeah, but usually it's like an elf and a shock.
No, it's actual lightning bolt, actual Bird of Paradise.
Yeah.
22 years and counting.
Well, a big part of what makes that decision less close than it would be otherwise is that Seth has started with a very creature-oriented beginning here. He's got a Goblin Guide and a Monastery Swiftspear, so even just holding off that Kitchen Finks by 1 turn, it sort of refunds the damage that he got from the lightning bolt there. He gets to get in for at least another 3 damage, if not more, with the Swiftspear.
Good. So back on Jacob Wilson here, who was hoping to start catching Kitchen Finks right now. I think he's going to have to settle for a Voice of Resurgence. He drew a Thoughtseize. Not a card he should be too happy to see in this matchup,
Yeah, it's not. I mean, sometimes you take a lightning bolt and save yourself 1 damage, or a Boros Charm and save yourself 2, but especially at this stage of the game when the early creatures have already come down, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we just don't even see him cast Thoughtseize at all this game.
I agree. Now, Jacob Wilson thinks if he wins this match, he's into the top 8 with a draw. Seth Manfield thinks, man, all I need is a draw. So we could see both of these guys in the top 8 still. But Seth hasn't got the draw yet, so he's got to try to get a win.
All right, here's Lava Spike to take Jacob Wilson down to 10.
Lifts the Monastery Swiftspear out of range of the Voice of Resurgence.
Depending on how this match goes, it is still possible to get a 12-4 into the top 8. It is also possible, if everything breaks exactly perfectly, for someone to miss on 12-3-1. We could get.
Wow, that's a big
it
range.
is possible to get 9 players to 12-3-1 or better if you pick every matchup exactly correct.
Seth's trying to decide if he's going to attack with 1 creature or both. You have to figure that Jacob would take the trade for the Goblin Guide if offered.
Definitely would, and does.
Snaps it up. So that's going to prevent 2 damage, kill a threat, and leave a creature behind. I'm curious to see if Seth Manfield what his follow-up play is here.
Now,
Let's
he
get
may
a
just be
fetch a
thinking,
land.
if I don't attack with the Goblin Guide, it's never really going to have another opportunity to attack anyway. And Jacob might just chump block with the Voice of Resurgence on the Monastery Swiftspear twice in a row. So by attacking with the Goblin's Guide, he sort of forces Jacob's hand into blocking the Goblin Guide and letting the Swiftspear through for at least one turn.
So 2 damage as a result there, and you can see Jacob's down to 8.
Update on the back table, by the way, Jelger Vigersma has taken game 1 from Michael Vezovsky.
All right, look what Seth Manfield led up with there. Eidolon of the Great Revel.
Yeah, really strong card against Jacob's deck in general. Looks like it's come down early enough to definitely matter in this game. Almost all of Jacob's cards cost 3 mana or less. So just leaving it on the battlefield is going to be a consistent source of damage for Seth Manfield. Unfortunately, Seth seems to be very low on gas here. Having to bolt that bird and spend a Lava Spike to trigger prowess on the Swiftspear early hasn't left him with a lot. But Jacob Wilson already down to 7 life, so...
Yeah, he made a run at winning the game before Kitchen Finks could come into play.
So Kitchen
It's like
Finks...
Jacob will go to 5, but
So
then,
Kitchen Finks breaks even here with the Eidolon.
back up.
But it's a nice blocker, and it also makes the Elemental a little bit bigger here, too. So the creature plan has shrunk a bit for Seth Manfield, and he needs to rely on drawing, well, 2, perhaps 3 burn spells to finish this thing off.
Yeah, the cards Seth's looking for at this point are still Searing Blaze, always excellent against creature decks, but also Skullcrack he has access to. So he may try to set up an attack where he attacks in the Kitchen Finks, lets the persist happen, but then Skullcracks in response. And sure enough, we do see a Skullcrack in his hand. So it's going to be a couple turns in the crafting here, but I think that's going to be his long-term game plan.
Yeah, I mean, even now, he can make that play, Skullcrack, untap, find a Boros Charm, and just call this thing a game.
Jacob has 2 more Kitchen Finkses?
Jeez.
Fortunately, the Eidolon of the Great Revel sort of holding his life total steady, taking away...
Yeah, but you respond to the trigger with the Skullcrack, right?
Yeah.
So now Eidolon actually turned a profit on this Kitchen Finks.
Absolutely. That was a total of 5 damage here.
And the Skullcrack is 3 more. Yeah, down to 2.
Down to 2 is Jacob Wilson.
Seth Manfield is going to knock the top of his deck. If he can draw a burn spell.
Wow.
And he's
he
going
can
to
win
have
this.
multiple turns to find
Yeah,
it,
he's
too.
got Jacob locked, right?
Yeah.
Jacob can't cast a spell from here.
Wow,
Well, he
this
can
is
cast a
huge.
Siege Rhino.
That's true. That's one of the few
He's going
cards
to
he
win
can cast.
through double Kitchen Finks?
Triple?
Well, the third one can't come down.
No.
Wow, that Skullcrack, just a huge draw.
Let's see if Seth Manfield can find those last 2 damage points here. Virtually any non-creature card in his deck gets it done. He'll have multiple draw steps at it as well. He's at 11.
He drew Monastery Swiftspear.
That is not what he was hoping for. As he passes the turn back to Wilson.
This is really tense. I mean,
Yes.
Seth has the 2 creatures in play that threaten to attack Jacob Wilson. Jacob has to leave back some defense.
Right.
At the same time, Jacob really wants to close out the game before Seth can find another burn spell. So he's willing to commit exactly 1 Kitchen Finks to combat here.
He's going to pass the turn back, and let's see if Seth Manfield finds the burn spell he's looking for.
And even here, Seth has 1 Monastery Swiftspear. He could attack with all 3 creatures and deal 1 more point of damage to Jacob Wilson, but 1 is not too
God,
many.
he
drew a
bricked
land.
again. He found another land. Seth Manfield down to 8. Jacob Wilson can actually start forcing chump blocks next turn.
And is that a Gavany Township in play? I believe it is. So if Jacob Wilson has an additional land...
Well, I believe he's got 2 windswept heaths on the battlefield right now.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah. Of which he could crack 1 and still be alive. That would
That means he
open
can't take a
himself
Swiftspear
up,
hit,
but he
though.
can't take a Swiftspear hit if he does. Wow, this is just about as close as they get. Because remember, if Seth gets down to 2,
Then he
he
can't
can't cast
spells.
any of his spells. He doesn't have anything over 3.
Well, you know what he can do is attack in with the Eidolon of the Great Revel. Jacob Wilson will be
Obliged
forced
to
to
block
block.
and kill it.
All of his creatures have at least 2 power, so the Eidolon will die in combat. Even if he blocks with a Kitchen Finks, he can still respond to the life gain trigger.
Okay,
Wow.
but in the
Both
meantime,
Kitchen Finkses.
Jacob Wilson's getting aggressive, and that's going to prompt a chump block
Seth
here.
not interested in going to 2.
Seth's going to fall to 5. And what does Wilson have, though?
1 more top deck.
He passed the turn back. What is the draw step here?
Oh, he's reaching for lands.
This could be Boros Charm.
It is Boros Charm.
He falls to 3 off of this, but Wilson
my goodness.
is going to die.
Yeah, I can't see what he could do here. He can't cast any spell that costs converted mana cost 3 or less.
And that's all he's got in his hand.
Yeah, he's looking at that path. Oh, wow.
You know, he dodged 2 draw steps in a row, but the third one got him, and Seth Manfield takes down the first game. He wants to lock up his top 8 seed. He's felt like he was for 2 rounds now, and he's like, I've had enough of this. I want to breathe a sigh of relief. We'll be back after these messages.
You've watched the Pro Tour. How about playing on the Pro Tour? Qualifiers for Pro Tour Dragons of Tarkir are going on until February 22nd, with winners earning an invitation and airfare to Brussels in April. Visit magic.wizards.com/PTQ for more information. Standard is the name of the game at Fate Reforged Game Day. Join the battle on February 14th and 15th at your local game store. Visit wizards.com/magicgameday for more information.
All right, back in our feature match area, let's take a look at a really interesting match over on the left there. Justin Cohen versus Sam Black. Interesting thing here, they're housemates. They live together.
Yes, they do.
And Justin Cohen is the one who not only convinced Sam to play this deck, he also taught him how. And they're running a 75-card mirror match here. Potentially for top 8 here.
Yeah, the winner just needs a draw in the last round.
I mean, these guys played in the Team GP together last week. Like, this is the friend that you traveled with to the Pro Tour.
Yeah, we got a game.
Playing for top 8.
And I see a lot of the same cards, except for one little discrepancy. It looks like Justin's the one with the Primeval Titan, where everything else looks about the same on the other side.
Yep, and noteworthy, just as we tuned in, we saw Cohen transmute Teleria West for Slaughter Pact. So he's already preemptively got an answer for Sam Black's Primeval Titan of his own.
Wow.
So from the look of things, Cohen, ahead on the battlefield, but of course it's Sam Black's turn, and these decks are explosive, both players with an amulet in play.
Can the student snatch the pebble from the master? In this case, it's Sam Black who's the student.
I was going to say, which one's the student, which one's the master?
Yeah.
Here? Sam's the Platinum Pro, number 12 ranked in the world. Been putting up results steadily for the last couple of years.
But we're drilled down into a smaller subset of our beloved game. We are in the Amulet Mirror Match section of Magic the Gathering, and Justin taught Sam what he knows. I wonder if he held anything back. Got a little trick up his sleeve.
Hold back the Mirror Match tech, right?
Absolutely.
And I think we see a Primeval Titan and a Summer Bloom in Sam's hand.
He's also got
Hive Mind as well.
2 of them, yeah.
Yeah, so this could be a very explosive turn.
Six mana floating.
So he's made 6 mana now by playing and bouncing a Simic Growth Chamber.
Now, I haven't done the math just yet, but Summer Bloom is going to let him generate a lot of mana. Provided he has enough mana, he can go Primeval Titan, fetch a bounce land plus a Teleria West, return the Teleria West to his hand with the bounce land, transmute it for a Pact, cast Hive Mind, cast a Pact.
Now,
however, Cohen has plenty of mana of his own, so I don't think
can Sam
he's probably
cast a Pact that Justin can't pay for?
Not a single one,
but multiples.
But maybe multiples, yeah.
It does seem hard to Hive Mind kill your opponent when they can pay for all the packs.
Yeah,
when they have a lot of mana too.
But just to demonstrate the crazy things this deck can pull off.
So Sam has 10 mana floating now. And I love playing Magic. Would not want to be in Sam Black's seat trying to figure this turn out right now. This just looks difficult.
Yeah. So, other potential things that could happen here. Primeval Titan could fetch up a Slayer's Stronghold, could gain +2/+0 and double strike. Okay, but
yeah, it looks
I'm going to interrupt myself here. It looks like Sam Black's going for a Hive Mind-oriented game plan here. So let's see how this plays out.
He's going to play a second one, and he's going to actually counter it, hold priority, get 2 copies. Now, what is Justin Cohen thinking here?
Just trying to figure out.
So
if he can
remember,
respond.
there's now another copy of Pact on the stack that Justin Cohen gets a target at something. This way, he can't fizzle it, right? Like, Justin can't find a way here to have this actually fizzle because his copy is going to go on now. It's
Right.
going to resolve on either the other Pact. Wow, and that was it.
Can't pay for both packs.
Sam Black. Wow, takes down the first game against Justin Cohen, his roommate. And we're going to go back to our main feature match here where we have Seth Manfield looking to finally just close the door on his top 8 berth here. I mean, he is mathematically still very, very alive, but has had 3 of 6 sequences go not his way.
Yeah, he figures if
himself
nobody's
not
going to
in.
give me a draw, I'll just Dream Crush. Jacob Wilson will be, if Seth wins, Jacob is probably out, hoping against hope that he can win and sneak in at 12-4.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob wins, then he just needs a draw, which is where Seth has been for the last several hours.
So Jacob Wilson starting off with a Noble Hierarch, the best turn 1 play his deck can muster.
Again, he's got turn 2 Kitchen Finks lined
Yeah.
up.
And who would have thought last game a turn 1 Birds into turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, potentially Kitchen Finks could, that hand could lose to a burn deck.
Is that a sort of War and Peace I just saw?
Yes,
It is indeed, yeah.
Wow. That thing closes out the game quickly and bolsters your life total too. So a little clunky though, for a match that can go this quick.
It's more of a way to lock up the game in the longer term, I think, than a plan that you can necessarily race to very quickly.
I see.
Because, of course, if you invest a lot of early mana trying to get your creature equipped, it's just going to get bolted.
Right. Wow, look at that hand from Manfield. That is disgusting.
Yeah, plenty of gas in the tank here.
Rift Bolt, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, really just the ratio of threats you want to see with a burn deck. He's got exactly 2 lands, and he's got plenty of burn spells that cost 1 mana.
Update from the back table, by the way. Nathan Smith is up a game against Tien.
Okay.
Those guys are playing for
What's their
win.
record?
They're 11-3. They're
Okay.
in the crowd that thinks a win, and then they'll be looking for a handshake next time. But Tien could be going back-to-back top 8s here, but
Jeez,
he's down
that would
a game.
be his 4th, by the way.
Wow. Good point.
So Seth
an eye on
Manfield
that.
picks up an Eidolon of the Great Revel, a card we saw being absolutely key in the previous game.
Yeah, he also bolted the Noble Hierarch to keep those
I'm at 19
Kitchen
yards.
Finks at bay.
So it'd be interesting to see, does he deploy the Eidolon immediately to just get maximum value out of its trigger, or does he try to deploy some of his own cards first? But no, he just goes straight for the Eidolon. He says, I'm happy taking plenty of damage to myself as long as I do that much extra damage to you, Jacob Wilson.
It does make it interesting. All those Lightning Bolts become 2 to me, 3 to you.
Yeah, I mean,
Not a big difference.
I can see a scenario where Jacob Wilson plays out multiple Kitchen Finks and just gets a little bit of extra life here, gets a little bit of a board presence, and starts to turn that Eidolon against Seth Manfield.
Totally.
It's definitely a possibility. But I think, the more likely scenario, and the one that Seth is hoping for, is just that Jacob Wilson takes a ton of damage from the Eidolon and a ton of burn spells to the face and just can't recover from it.
That Eidolon does seem like a big, big problem for Wilson. When you break even on a Kitchen Finks, that can't feel good.
Another interesting fact over on that Justin Cohen Sam Black match, by the way, that I didn't realize until somebody on Twitter pointed this out. It's Justin Cohen's first Pro Tour.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, congratulations to him getting so deep so far.
Yeah, he, with 3 losses and only 2 rounds to go, he's qualified for the next one.
Yes.
His worst case scenario is 11-5 and on his way to Brussels. So will not be his last Pro Tour.
So Jacob Wilson likely to cast a Kitchen Finks this turn. We talked a little bit about him trying to maneuver to turn the Eidolon against Seth Manfield. Of course, Seth always has sort of the backdoor out of blocking with the Eidolon because Jacob Wilson's not going to be able to defeat Seth without attacking. So
Big update from the back table. Congratulations, Jelger Wiegersma. Top 8 number 5
Wow.
for the Pro Tour Hall of Famer. He wins, gets to 37 points, already has the draw, does not need anything next round. He defeats Michael Vasovsky. Vasovsky falls to 4 losses, so probably out of it, hoping that, win in a tiebreaker miracle.
Go Yelger.
Indeed. There's 3 people in this top 8 so far. They have 10 top 8s between them.
As a fellow Hall of Famer, Randy, do you find yourself rooting for the Hall of Fame
Yeah,
guys
a little bit.
bit?
Definitely.
So Seth Manfield pondering what to do with his turn, picks up a 3rd land. Kitchen Thing stares off Eidolon of the Great Revel.
And the damage is going to start flowing in both directions pretty quickly here.
Yeah.
So there's a Monastery Swift Spear that's going to trigger the Eidolon and drop Seth down to 14.
So this is a major turning point in the match. I mean, Seth needs to decide, do I want to pursue a creature-based route of dealing damage, in which case I have to deal with the Kitchen Finks, or do I just want to go all my burn to the face, ignore the fact that you have a Kitchen Finks, maybe on the final turn chump block with the Eidolon of the Great Revel.
But no, it looks like the Eidolon
opts.
has been offered up for trades here, and Wilson has obliged him immediately. Bolt you now.
Yep, of course, to pump the Swift Spear, saying,
It does.
I'm doing you 1 extra damage, I'm taking 2 damage, but that's worth it to me.
Bolt puts me to 14. Yeah. And then I take 2 to 12 and gain 2. Yeah.
But now he actually gets to gain life from Kitchen Finks, and he's got a backup Finks in his hand. Actually, we're showing a pair of backup Kitchen Finks. He's just drawn infinite Kitchen Finks throughout this game.
And I'm sure
this
it was
cannot be good for
a
Manfield.
really tough decision for Seth to decide, you know, do I want to try to force through my creatures, or do I just want to abandon ship and just try to go to the face with the burn spells?
Yeah, because he can't have felt too happy about trading his Eidolon, a really powerful play, for half of a Kitchen Finks.
Right.
And getting the 2 life back immediately.
And he's going to feel even worse about it when his 2nd Kitchen Finks comes down next turn.
Wait for the 3rd one, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, you'd think it's with Jacob drawing 6 Kitchen Finks that he could win one of these 2 games.
Yes. And this is a good start. So 16 for Wilson, attack for 2.
Puts me at 9.
And Seth's down to 9. It's
and I like
16
this.
to 9.
I like this fairly aggressive play from Jacob Wilson. I mean, he's ahead on life totals. He just wants to close out the game before Seth has the time and the card draw to finish him off.
That's right. All right, so here's Rift
Seth's
Bolt
got
coming
what?
off to suspend.
10 points of burn.
It just feels
Suspended
like...
Rift Bolt in hand, Boros Charm. It does not seem like enough.
No, and if he starts aiming the burn spells at Jacob's creatures, it feels like it's just going downhill for Manfield there.
Yeah, he has to just go to the face and then hope that he can outrace the Kitchen Finkses with a couple of top decks.
Suspend a Rift Bolt, but that means no attack from Swift Spear of any
Right.
kind, and he's just going to pass a turn back. Is there a path to exile as well for Jacob Wilson? Yeah, aggressively getting that Swift Spear out of the way to clear the path for potentially 5 damage here.
Yeah, I don't think Swift Spear was blocking, but Swift Spear was attacking the next turn.
Also, did you see that Seth didn't even
search? I think it's his.
He's got both of the mountains apparently. No planes in his deck, just jamming it. So
really only 2 basic mountains. It's fun.
didn't even flinch.
Leyline
towards
of
his deck.
Sanctity.
Oh, you see the look on Seth Manfield's face when that came down? He's like, well.
How do I win if I can't target you?
Wow. Doesn't even let that Rift Bolt come off of suspend. Now, I have another question. Ian, you're taking a look at Seth's deck list here. Is there wear and tear in there anywhere? That might be coming in here.
Yeah, the ley lines. Jacob can just cast that ley line. It's not like he has to get ley line at the beginning of the game to drop it into play, as we just saw right there. His deck's got plenty of white mana. You can just cast it.
So I think we're going to jump back and take a look at Tien in a minute here. He's playing against Nathan Smith on Zoo. Tien is on
burn, not Zoo.
Burn on burn action here.
Yep.
Apologies. Yeah, so burn and burn. I like watching these. It's always a big flurry. Uh-oh. I see the Mirror Breaker there. Not Kiki Jiki.
Wow.
Core
Firewalker.
Firewalker instead.
Yeah, I mean, one of, if not the most back-breaking cards that a burn deck does not want to see.
And out of the Kindred Spirit burn deck?
It is so
Are you
shameful.
allowed to play Core Firewalker in your burn deck? That's legal?
There's a lot of red mages that would take umbrage with that,
Right,
but Tien has no problem with it. He's down a game here, so he's happy to see that his friend the Core Firewalker is doing work.
I don't know if he's a friend. I mean, maybe a hired gun at best.
Hired gun works. Whenever a player casts a red spell, you may gain 1 life. Well, there's 2 players playing a heck of a lot of red spells in this matchup.
Yikes.
Feels pretty unbeatable. It's also got protection from red, so it's not going to get burn spelled out of there either, and it can even block if needed, so that is just a wrecking ball in the mirror.
Yeah, when you play burn, you're basically hoping your opponents don't have that card in their sideboard.
Right.
Like, that card is single-handedly game-breaking. If your opponents can cast a WW spell and put this in their sideboard, you're like, shrug, I got a bad pairing. These things happen when you're the burn player.
Yeah, I've even seen some burn players go so far as to play Pyrite Spellbomb in their sideboard just for a non-red source of damage to take out the core firewall.
Wow, and that's
on to
gonna
game
do it.
3.
Yeah.
I mean, Nate, good news for Nathan is he's won the first game.
He did. Wow. All right, so we're getting to game 3 back there. Tien on 11-3 versus Nathan Smith on 11-3. And maybe we can check in on Justin Cohen and Samuel Black. Yeah, looks like we can. Let's check that
Are they
match
just now
out.
starting game 2? Or is this game 3? Seems like game 1 ended a while ago.
So relatively non-explosive
Yeah,
draws
still
from both players.
Still game 2. They spent a lot of time sideboarding.
Could have been some mulliganing here, too.
Tendo Icebridge, a Sunhome Fortress of the Legion, and a Gemstone Mine for Justin Cohen. Transmuting for a Summoner's Pact, looks like. A lot of unusual lands in these decks. And probably not the lands that these players want to start with in their opening hand.
I mean, we're obviously focusing on the top 8 matches here, but there is a lot of star power in this tournament hanging out just below the cut for top 8. John Finkel defeated Paul Rietzel this round to get Johnny Magic to 11-4.
All right, there's Azusa for Justin Cohen. So
Should we try to watch both of these at the same time? See
yeah,
who work out last
I think
round?
we can do that. Well,
Wilson puts Leyline of Sanctity into play on turn 0.
all right, so assuming no sideboard hate for that,
Did you
we
look
can
this up?
shrink
Does he
that
have
match
weight?
up.
Seth
That's
has
it.
next to no ways to deal with the Leyline of
Is that
Sanctity.
a turn? I mean, he has to win with creatures now.
Yep.
Is that a turn 0 kill?
I mean, pretty close. He has to. I mean, he can attack for damage with Goblin Guides and Monasteries with Spears.
But we've seen Wilson's deck.
This is not
It's all
yeah.
big, great blockers that are hard to get rid of. Like,
Yep.
Wow, Seth Manfield is going to lose 3 in a row. Still
I do
just
not
looking
want
for that
this
draw.
storyline at all, Randy. I don't want to go near it. I want
12,
him to top
12-0
it.
to 12-4 and a
Yeah,
miss.
I'm not interested in that. So we'll just
I mean-
hope that isn't how this plays out for Manfield.
I mean, the thing is, even if he's 12-4, he could still sneak in as the he'll have the best tiebreakers.
I'm fine with that one.
You're fine with the 0-4
that's
to back in.
Look,
he got it
that's
done.
kind of exciting. Give him a sweat, right?
Although never say no, never, guys. I mean, Manfield has started with a Monastery Swift Spear. That's one of the best early starts he can hope for against the Leyline of Sanctity. And Wilson starts with just a tapped Godless Shrine, it looks like. So no turn 1 accelerant. He may have kept a relatively weak hand just on the back of having the Leyline of Sanctity.
I admire you being hopeful, Ian.
Wow.
We got to sell the story here, Marshall,
Jacob Wilson's hand, by the way,
Yeah.
2 Siege Rhinos and a Wiltleaf Liege. So if he gets to 4, he's in great shape.
Now,
2 lands.
does he have anything ahead of that, though?
Yes. He has Chalice of the Void.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
So maybe he drew too many hate cards here, and Ian's storyline might come to fruition if Manfield can lay it on thick earlier.
All I'm saying is, we've all won on a mulligan to 4. We've all battled our way through crazy sideboard cards. It can happen. It's the penultimate round of a Pro Tour. We know these players are going to just fight
Oh, wait,
tooth
does
and nail.
Seth have Destructive Revelry?
Oh, that's right. He does have Destructive Revelry.
Okay. He doesn't have a green mana source currently, but he has just played a pair of Swift Spears.
Yeah, nor does he have one in his hand.
Okay.
But they are in the list. They're in the sideboard.
All right, well,
and
that's
he's on
huge.
Leyline in game 2, so
That's
they
huge.
certainly
An
came in.
end-step Revelry, untap, unload all my bolts on you is absolutely possible.
Yeah,
so
that's
we will
really
keep a close
interesting.
eye.
So I mean, Seth may not have brought those in game 2, but certainly this being game 3 and having seen the Leyline of Sanctity in game 2, I think he will want some number of those destructive revelries in his deck.
So on our bigger picture match here, I want to remind you that Sam Black is up a game here.
Right, that is game 2.
Yeah, Justin Cohen lost the first game to Sam, but it looks like Justin is kind of in the midst of going off here in the second game, maybe to even things up again.
Seth keeps making
Yeah,
monsters.
check this out. Justin Cohen just played Hive Mind.
Is he going to lava spike himself?
He might.
He did. He lava spiked himself.
Love it.
To get the 2 prowess triggers
He
off those
did.
2 Swift Spears.
Now on the lower left, though, Swan Song is going to counter. I just saw a handshake. So
Wow.
Swan Song countered.
So what happened there is Justin Cohen played Hive Mind. Sam Black tried to Swan Song it, which can counter an instant sorcery or enchantment in this case.
Yes.
Justin Cohen had Pact of Negation to counter the Swan Song and an additional pact, Summoner's Pact, to use with the Hive Mind.
Then why
Sam
were they
Black-
signing the slip?
Sam
Did they
Black
ID?
Only 2. It's possible. It's possible they may have ID'd.
I think-
We're looking that up for you guys at home.
We're going to find out that
so
for
they
you.
so they decided to intentionally draw.
That's what happened?
Yeah, they recorded that as an intentional draw. The housemates are like, look, let's just both play for it next round.
Okay.
So back to Seth Manfield versus Jacob Wilson here. I mean, the Leyline of Sanctity, a devastating card against Seth, but he does have the creature-based attack here to make a game of this.
Wait, is Seth at 6?
He's been bolting himself for
Just
prowess triggers, Marshall.
Firing things off at himself?
Did you see the lightning bolt and the lava spike in his graveyard?
So
They didn't have any targets.
So the question is, can Jacob just start chaining Siege Rhinos, and when?
That is the question.
Likely
I see
so.
3 mana for him here, and he's got a Kitchen Finks live and active on the battlefield.
Now, one play to keep in mind is Skullcrack prevents life from being gained regardless of which player is targeted with it. So there's always the outside chance that Seth could Skullcrack himself. However, being at 6,
With an Eidolon.
he can't afford to Skullcrack
It would
himself
put him to
against
1.
the Siege Rhino. It will work against the Kitchen Finks, but not against the Siege Rhino. Just pointing it out because it's an interesting thing that can come up.
So the bolt and the lava spike that hit Seth Manfield were 5 each.
Yeah, no problem.
Just
Look,
10
you do what you got to do.
to get
5
him
for me,
4
2
extra
for you.
damage.
5 for me, 2 for you.
Wow. Okay, so Kitchen Finks just actually eats a Swift Spear.
Yeah,
and
look,
there
he
it
cannot
is,
play that
Siege
fast
Rhino.
enough.
That's game,
Siege Rhino.
right? If it resolves, that's going to do it. Jacob Wilson
Wow.
has won.
3 rounds ago, Seth Manfield thought he had it clinched.
Yeah, so how do you feel
All
right
he
now?
needs is a point.
How do you feel as Seth Manfield right now?
I want to throw up. You still probably have a level of confidence with it.
You're
But
like,
I'm not
you're
feeling
sweating.
good.
you're like, I
You
think
are
I
not
still
sweating
make top
bullets.
8, don't I? But
Yeah.
in the depths of your stomach, you start to get
No,
this.
exactly.
What
You're
if?
like, this can't possibly happen to me,
if?
right? This
The
can't
depths
possibly.
of
That's what
stomach
you're
was
thinking.
last round. Now it's throbbing in my head like
No.
this can't happen to me.
I don't think the head. I think Leyline of Sanctity is when the head started throbbing.
Okay, fair. That is not a card that Seth wanted to see right there. And he, in fact, can't play around it. Now, where does that put Jacob Wilson?
Looking for a draw.
Looking
Tied
for
with
a
Seth
draw?
Manfield. They're in an identical situation right now. They just need a draw to get to 11-3-1. I think 11-3-1 is safe with Yelger's win. I don't think it's possible for an 11-3-1 to miss the top 8 because Yelger knocked Michael Visovsky down.
So for all you young pyromancers at home, we're back to our burn-on-burn matchup here. Li Shitian versus Nathan Smith. A flurry of burn spells and Swift Spears already.
Ooh.
Li Shitian revealed Core Firewalker to a Goblin Guide. Not what you want to see in Nathan Smith's shoes.
No, he took a bunch of damage to get it on the battlefield, but now
It's true.
it's going to be a brick wall against the Goblin Guide and, of course, that whole life gain thing. Really tough to fight through this Firewalker for Nathan Smith. He doesn't seem to have one of his own.
Yeah, I mean, Core Firewalker is the type of card that can help stabilize you almost at any life total. I mean, if you're at like 4 or above, and we see Li Shitian at 6, I mean, this card can really get you out of a jam. Now, we could see some kind of strange combination from Nathan Smith trying to like cast a burn spell, respond to the Core Firewalker, trigger with another burn spell to kind of squeak out an extra life point, or maybe a Skullcrack is involved there somewhere. And in comes Goblin Guide.
Oh, geez.
Now, what we might see here is, now Marshall, can you check for me? Skullcrack says damage can't be prevented, right?
Yeah, it says damage can't be prevented this turn. It also says players can't gain life this turn.
Right, but what I'm thinking about here is Core Firewalker has protection from red, and built into protection from red is prevention of damage. So if Li Shijian does block with the Core Firewalker, we might see a Skullcrack. And we did, yeah.
That's exactly what happened. Wow. He does get to gain the 1 life from it, but that Core Firewalker has now been mitigated. Skullcrack. What an all-star.
Yeah. Just a really versatile card. We've seen it used in a lot of different ways so far this tournament.
We also heard Ari talk about it in his deck series that we saw right before this round. He said 4 of them.
By the way, I may have to take something back I just said. I do think a 11-3-1 can still miss because of the Sam Black draw. Because Sam and his roommate took the ID to play for it.
Wow.
Guess who has the worst tiebreakers amongst the 34s?
Who?
Sam Black. That draw could cost him. If somebody misses, it would probably be him.
So he could win and miss potentially.
Yeah, I think the 34s have to play, so I don't think that's actually going to come up, but it is now mathematically possible for someone to miss. I don't think it's likely because of the pairings, but some of it will depend on the pairings.
Li Shijian clawing his way back into the game here, adds a Goblin Guide to the battlefield on his turn.
He's shaking
and then
his
follows
head.
it up with a Lightning Helix while Nathan Smith is tapped out, just taking the opportunity to make sure he gains that 3 life, make sure that resolves before giving Nathan Smith priority back.
Now the question here is, can Li Shijian turn this race back on its head?
Nathan Smith reveals Boros Charm, good for 4 damage. So it's really likely we see end of turn 3-point burn spell.
How about
Boros
4?
Charm? Untap Boros Charm.
Untap Boros Charm. But I do see that Li Shijian has a second copy of Lightning Helix.
Absolutely,
in his hand.
Marshall.
He's going to do it now. Does not want a Skullcrack to happen.
Yeah, really smart, because Nathan Smith, if he's clever, could untap his 2 lands, leave up Skullcrack, and just pass and say, you know, your move, Li Shijian.
So Li gets that up, so he should be at 6 here.
Yeah, I believe he is at 6. Boros Charm can bring him down to 2. Nathan Smith a little bottlenecked on mana.
Yeah, it's the mana scenario.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I have no doubt he's got enough burn in his deck in his hand to finish this game, but just can't deploy it fast enough.
Wow.
And Nathan Smith down to 7 already, with Li Shijian having, I believe, sort of 4 points of power on the board, essentially, with a Grim Lavamancer and a Goblin Guide. So those 2 together, plus a single burn spell, threatens to defeat Nathan Smith. So this is going to be a little bit of a dance back and forth with players trying to leave up mana, maybe bluff Lightning Helix, maybe bluff Skullcrack.
Doesn't Li Shijian just have it?
He does, but if his opponent has a Lightning Helix, it can.
But he doesn't.
He doesn't know
Yeah,
that.
he doesn't.
He has the Skullcrack.
And he's not going to win the game without tapping mana anyway. So he plays a defensive Monastery Swift Spear here,
It's going to block. It has to. But yes, Li Shijian does just have it, assuming that he can get in with the Goblin Guide.
And this has got to be so frustrating for Smith. He's got Shard Volley, he's got Boros Charm, Skullcrack, 10 points of burn in his hand, plus being able to negate life gain.
Wow.
And he just can't deploy it fast enough. And he's
Look at Li Shijian.
Yeah, he wants a land.
Look how he squeezes.
If he
this
draws a
out.
land, then he can Searing Blaze to remove the blocker and deal the damage and have Boros Charm.
Yeah, I think he just
Did
played
he
a
draw
land.
the
I
land?
can't see. Yes,
he did. He found the land.
He drew a Scalding Tarn. He's going to Searing Blaze, get it out of here.
Li Shijian, ladies and
that's
gentlemen.
going to do it.
Remove your blocker, deal some damage.
Wow.
Nathan Smith's like, he was even attacking me with Goblin Guide. I still couldn't find a land.
Drop you down to 4, attack you with Guide, activate Grim Lavamancer. He's actually just got
Boros
it right
Charm.
here with Boros Charm.
To the face.
And another big fist pump. In fact, 2 of them from Li Shijian.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm getting used to seeing that
I
now.
know. This is back-to-back top 8s for him.
Wow.
He joins the scrum at 36 points, who only need a draw to make top 8.
My goodness.
Wow.
Is
and
this,
just like,
did he just qualify?
look at the mic drop. He just walks away, leaves all the cards on the table and walks away. Love it. Super happy for him. That's awesome.
Now, game 1, maybe I played wrong.
But he's still a Magic player.
Still
Randy.
got to do the decompress.
You got to do the game 1. Maybe I should have tapped this or sent that.
Wow.
Wow.
That's back-to-back top 8s for him.
Yeah. His
Back-to-back in
4th.
Modern, back-to-back. He was in the Honolulu top 8 with the Jeskai Ascendancy deck. 4 career top 8s.
In
Amazing.
a relatively short period
Well,
of time.
3 of them are in the last 12 months.
Yes.
It's his 3rd one in the last 12 months. I mean, Valencia was what? Was February, right?
Li Shijian.
Just on an incredible tear.
At the Pro Tour
He
level.
has been playing some great Magic.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
kind of in
no, that's
shock
great.
that just happened. Now, there's a whole lot breaking down here.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
As well, as far as the standings. I saw, Randy, that you were over there.
I keep
kind
scribbling.
Scribbling and,
Yeah,
and
the
trying to get us an
34s.
idea here.
I've got it at 337s. We've talked about Eric, Antony, and Yelger. We think are just safely through. The 36s, Seth Manfield still 36, but then Jacob Wilson and Tien are now in that looking for a draw. So 337s, 336s. Presumably they all get paired and they all get to draw in. Then you've got 34s who have to play for it. Justin Cohen and Sam Black, who just drew to put themselves in this situation. And Austin Bursavich, not in the feature match area, but he got the win against Haoshan Huang to get himself to 34. So you got 3 34s,
Okay.
like one gets in, and then maybe the other gets in, or maybe the 12 and 4 could still sneak
All right,
in.
well, why don't
Wow.
we send it over to the news desk and Richard Hagan to help break all of this down and give us other news from around the tournament.
Fantastic job by the guys in the booth there. They will be back very, very soon with all the action from the final round. But right now, we have a unique deck tech for you. We have not 75 cards, but 150 cards. And we have not one player, but two. And they're both live for the top 8. So good luck, Brian David Marshall, as you find out the ins and outs of the Amulet combo with Sam Black and Justin Cohen.